I didn't really catch it the first time around reading. But when Father Callahan says that Salem's Lot is his, he regards it as his to care for, his to shepherd, like a priest does, his to guide, and just care for in such a way. It was then that I realized what exactly he represented in Salem's Lot. He was the faith, yeah. He was the moral core. Like, he in essence is the crumbling faith and morality of the town. It's something else, though. You know, he is, I guess partly its soul. Or the part of its soul that is good, and wants to do good, and wants to fight for that. And has all of the good reasons to continue and to be faithful. It's like more than that. It's more than words. That's, when you're talking about religion and priesthood and what that means, well, there's just going to be things like that you're not going to be able to explain. You know, that's faith, that's spirituality in a nutshell. So I would likewise struggle with that, and I damn well should, is my point. But this priest is sitting there thinking about all of the confessions that he hears, and sometimes, you know, all the things that he doesn't. And he goes over and over again in his mind the things that he has to listen to. And he even says, he makes a big ol' point about it, that his whole life he sought priesthood in order to combat evil. And he found that evil in the people that he was sent to love and care for. There was no big bad evil thing. It was the people that you read about in chapter after chapter, before and after you meet Father Callahan. And that's devastating, but you miss it because you think it's normal. You think it's small town America. And when you read the introduction to this book, unless you read it a way long time ago, I don't know if there's an edition that does not have Mr. King's author's notes and things like that. I mean, he's very fond of putting them in there, and I'm glad he does. I'm very fond of reading them. There's priceless information in those. But he gives you a context for it before you've read the book. You could say that maybe that's not fair. When I was a kid, I didn't read the author's notes unless I really liked the author. But I was a brat. You could always just read it afterwards, especially if you liked the book enough. But for me to realize that, like, I can't remember the first time I read it. I mean, I was happy to, but I was so confused by a couple things, and it was so long, and I have the attention span of a single-celled organism, so I guess maybe that is what happened. Like, I mean to say that it's all me. But this is why when you really love a book this much, you go back and you keep at it. You know, you read it again, and people call you crazy. But it's so much more soothing than, you know, just once. You know, like my favorite movie, I can't watch it just once. I have to fully absorb it. And you can only do that in time, after many watchings. Or like, you know, I'm a dork, my favorite video games. All the things going on in the background, all of the music notes at certain things, how this adds up, and why they said this at a certain time. It's like this cinematic wonder, and, you know, they're called toys and not taken seriously. Which is ironically enough, another theme in Salem's Lot, is all of the things that you think aren't important because they're for children. And, you know, he's really fond of that one. You can see that in his other works. I mean, hell, The Body, Stand By Me, the movie. But God, it just really did something to me when it wasn't just a pastor drunk bitching or a priest. a Catholic father who was just bitching about something, and he was drunk because he has a lot going on. The number one thing with him is his loss of faith. And so if you're not paying close attention, you're going to take it like that. You're going to think he's just confused about the world. And especially here in 2025, that's going to be one of the easiest things to do. Because who the hell has faith anymore? Sure, there's people looking for it, and they have the same questions that he does. It's very, very easily taken as the things that he sees every day are just another thing that makes him question his faith in the first place. Here I wanted to be this priest, and a couple decades into the job, I wonder what the hell I'm doing. I mean, that's an old story. There's a lot of that's been told. You know, one time I saw a movie called Night of the Iguana, of all things. Imagine seeing that title, clicking on it, and then seeing the singular descriptive sentence that was given, that was, a priest is losing his faith. Like, oh, that's golden. That's an unforgettable example. So by the time that we get to Father Callahan, in terms of fucked up movies about faith, of which there are many, a lot of stories like that, however they come, you would by all means think that he's getting drunk because he's bored with his life, and priesthood just isn't everything that it's cracked up to be. Like everyone else in the town, it just kind of sounds like he isn't satisfied with his life. That's what half of the book is about. And that's why there's all these little chapters about these people and their lives and how everything is going wrong and they're dealing with that. And it's very real. That's what people loved about The Stand, I think, is that, gosh, it was just these people living their lives and you understood that. Mr. King is very, very good at that. And like the goddamn magician that he is, he will take that and he will seduce you away from the main point. Which is not that he's a priest losing his faith, as said. It's that he's beyond depressed. It's that he had this flame inside of him to actually see it. He wanted to see evil, and that's a very common thread that a lot of Mr. King's hero has. It's this desire to go beyond, to pay the price, the want to do that. However it shows up in their little person, or their big person, really, however it comes, they have to see it, they have to know, they want to rise up to the occasion and be a hero for the right reasons. And, you know, sure, you know, sometimes that's something completely different than they expected. And it's this big journey, sure. I mean, that's basically like the Dark Tower series, it kind of, sort of, I mean, everything happens in those books. But, with Father Callahan, he didn't see a monster. And there's a monster right there. The monster isn't the villain. He wanted to see evil. And it was, as stated, you know, it's in the young mother who got married to her high school boyfriend. That's where the evil of the story is. You know, all of the other confessions that he has, that one hit him pretty hard, what she had to say. And it was how we have all of this shit going on, and no one has much desire to do anything. And sure, there's the depression that his life has become basically meaningless drivel. That actually matter to him, no one else seems to care about. But they're too busy doing menial tasks, or things that he doesn't find very grand. You know, he wanted to be a soldier of God, and the other priests, as he described it, are talking about groceries that week and whether it's okay to protest them and things like that, and wondering about all sorts of very modern but very lightweight and very surface level issues. And that's why Father Callahan is special, because he wanted more, and for him there is more, and it in itself is a terror that makes him doubt God himself. And there's all sorts of despair that he's looking at. You know, along with the townspeople's, there's also his own. And he has to be this brave front because they're looking at him in their terror. And he knows that. There was a Stephen King-esque book called Still Life with Crows by two authors. I am shit with names, so I'll put their names on the screen. But, it's about a small town in America surrounded by a cornfield, and it's not hyper-modern. Like, it didn't come out yesterday, so it has a nicer feel to it than if, say, it did. And there was a priest in there who dropped the ball, and it was this big funny thing, even though it's the same sort of concept. This priest is trying to comfort the town. And he doesn't really take his job seriously. He's there for the status, he's there for the paycheck. Like I said, there's a lot of stories about shitty priests. People love to eat them because they love to criticize Christianity. They love stories about bad pastors, about people working for the church and stealing the collection plate money. People gobble that shit up. I think that's partly why we as a society, but not the collective we, I have nothing to do with that shit. I mean, criticize where it's worthy, by all means, but to sit there and applaud and herald it as though this is something that you really like to see. I mean, okay, you know what? It's kind of like a mouthy, shitty, blue-haired liberal getting hit in the face with shit after saying that somebody that they disagree with should just die. I can see how it's satisfying like that for you. Play monkey games, get monkey prizes, I guess. I fucking hate monkeys for that exact reason. But, it's the same thing. You can't just piss on one of the pillars of your society and expect that to go well. Spoiler, it's not going to, and it's going to be worse than getting hit in the face with a cow pie or anything at all.